peace and silence through the night. What a thrill. I'm searching and I'll melt into you. What a fear in my heart, but you're so supreme. I give my life, not for honor, but for you. In my time, there'll be no one else. Crime, it's the way I fly to you. I'm still in a dream, snake eater.
What good folks, it's Darktree19 and welcome back to another What If Naruto Was Aired, a Big Boss Throne. So like, comment, subscribe and share, but besides all that, enjoy the video. Chapter 6, Birth of Heaven. It took 3 long years, but they had finally gathered together in a single room, and stood around a circular table staring at one another. For the first time in known history of the elemental countries, they had all gathered at a single location, and now stared at each of their fellow Jinchuriki. Each individual standing at this table were assigned their place, as it pertained to the number of tails their demon had, and eyeing the other while looking for deception that they may have been hiding and only coming here to set up some kind of ambush with their village backing them up. In all the years since Jinchuriki have existed, we have never gathered like this before at one place, and all for a single purpose each of us has craved since our childhoods, said Han with Roshi next to him eyeing the others carefully. Not all of us are here. Our 2 brethren from Mist Village are lost to us and for different reasons, said Yugito sadly while seeing the empty spaces where they should be located. Yes. We can thank the Akatsuki for one of them being killed, said Roshi angrily, as he was hating the organization more and more with each passing day. The other was the Mizukage of the Mist, right? How did he die? Said Fu while being a bit shy around so many Jinchuriki that could give her a run for her money. The rebellion against him won out. His demon will manifest itself in a few years. When that happens, I will ask the 3 tails to join us in being our guardian of our waters, and main defender of outer heaven from the seas, said Naruto having stepped out from the shadows towards the round table where the others were Jinchuriki like himself were standing. His current appearance was much different than that of the bingo book this time, as he wore forest camouflage pants, combat boots, shirt of similar design, and a tan-colored trench coat that hid his metallic armor. The Namikaze's hair was not spiky this time, but slicked back, the eye patch was on his left eye, and hands behind his back. When they saw Naruto, the other Jinchuriki had a sudden urge to stand at attention, and give him a military salute. Ocelot had mentally joked that Naruto was the spitting image of Big Boss when he was looking himself in the mirror. It's good to see you again, Namikaze Naruto, said Gaara before bowing his head slightly at him. Likewise Sabaku no Gaara. I take it from the fact you're here, Tamari has taken over Suna and being the Kazekage, and you have left your village for good? Said Naruto seeing Gaara nodding his head yes. She has and I have. Effective immediately, my sister has been correcting the mistakes my father made, and making the people realize how foolish they were to treat me with such hate. Tamari will help Suna become our most useful ally in the future, said Gaara while Naruto nodded and looked at the others. And the rest of you? I know for a fact the 2 of you from Kumo were treated all right in your village and yet here you're standing before the rest of us, said Naruto while looking at Yugito and Killer Bee. I won't deny our time in Kumo is probably paradise compared to what you and all the other Jinchuriki here went through. However, it doesn't mean we won't leave for a life away from being the tools of our village, and reach for the chance to do something more with our lives, said Yugito with Killer Bee nod in agreement with her. Kitty is right 9. We only want to live a life being fine, said Killer Bee while Yugito hissed at him for calling her Kitty. I understand. I think. What about the rest of you? Are you willing to join outer heaven knowing what this will mean? It won't be easy at first and there is a lot of work to do in bringing back Whirlpool Country to its former glory with the villages no doubt being upset at us leaving. Not to mention the Akatsuki organization and the need for other members outside of ourselves for people treated like us, said Naruto seeing them nod knowing this was the path they chose. They've been picking us off one by one. Let's see how they handle all of us together, said Han with Roshi nodding. I say we shake things up a bit, said Fu with determination in her voice. That's the spirit. Now, I don't need to tell you how the chain of command is going to work here, and that I will be the leader of this group. Any objections? Said Naruto while the others shook their heads no. You know what you're doing, Namikaze-sama. There is no reason to change the status quo, said Roshi with Han nodding in agreement. What's next step in the plan? Said Gaara seeing Naruto throw a bingo book onto the table with it open and showing the highlighted page he marked concerning missing nin. The next step? Funding and recruitment, said Naruto seeing them nod before passing the book around for them to look at each potential candidate or target. You said there were a few people in the Leaf willing to join? Said Yugito while looking over the book handed to her by Gaara. Yes. Mitarashi Anko is a special jounin and second in command of the village's INT department. Her life was hell like mine. If given the chance, she'll leave the Leaf, and join up with us to get away from the hatred for her that even now hasn't left Konoha. Several members of the Aburame clan feel persecuted there too and wish to relocate here to grow a secondary clan here while still keeping ties to their main clan in the Leaf. I have spoken to Hyuga Hyashi and he feels a secondary Hyuga clan not bound by the old ways is vital for the future of the bloodline and given his blessing in letting his eldest daughter join us here, said Naruto with Killer Bee nodding at such a strong candidates. The fact Mitarashi Anko and Hyuga Hinata are your lovers doesn't hurt their chances of joining either, right? Said Gaara seeing Naruto smirk at him. I see you've been paying attention to the rumors. Yes. Anko is my lover, as is Hinata too, so are several other women in the Leaf. All of them are choosing me over the village and want to get away from there, said Naruto knowing in the last 3 years things had changed. For one, Naruto was now older, wiser, and stronger than before with the help of his first 3 teachers continuing their training of him to be the next big boss. In addition, the Namikaze had become an expert seal master after finding his mother's scrolls detailing how to do them, and how every Uzumaki back in her time was feared for their skills in the art. We should focus on recruiting the people that escaped the Mist's bloodline civil war. I know of several places rumored to hold scattered clans that barely got out of there alive, said Yugito knowing that Kumo had investigated these rumors before, but no doubt those people with bloodlines kept themselves hidden, and avoided such recruitment parties. We'll need to recruit shinobi, who are more focused on tracking before we can go after them, and offer them a place in outer heaven, said Fu knowing anyone with their kind of lifestyle had trust issues. Agreed. Fortunately, we have a strong foundation to work with, as Wave Country has provided support for assisting in Outer Heaven being constructed, and Spring Country has also provided resources needed to make the construction process possible. Right now the defensive walls for us are being set up right now along key areas while housing is still an issue that needs addressing among other things. To speed things along, each of us will assist in the construction process, and building Outer Heaven so we all have a strong sense of attachment. When we aren't helping in the building of our new home, we will be training, and doing missions to bring in more financial support to help us grow, said Naruto seeing them nod in agreement. That and the Icha Icha Paradise movie you recently made with Koyuki also helped bring in a massive fortune too, said Yugito with a smirk and Naruto just chuckled. From that smirk on your cute face I take it you enjoyed watching me, said Naruto with Yugito blushing and Nibi snickering at her. If he only knew just how many times you went to see it kitten, said Nibi while Yugito mentally glared at the demon cat. Quiet you. Thought Yugito while the Nibi just kept laughing. That aside Namikaze-sama, we should also discuss the idea of additional training to help master the power of our respectful demons, and other skills to combat the Akatsuki, said Han since he along with Roshi had been trying to do that for a while now. I can do that. I'm B who knows where it's at. Help with your demon Killer B can for my demon is my #1 fan, said Killer B making everyone sweat drop at him. You see what I have to work with here? Said Yugito with Naruto shaking his head and smirking. We'll try to work on that too. Han and Roshi will learn from Killer Bee in mastering the power sealed in them. Anyone else is welcome to join, but let me know first, and keep me updated on your progress. QB is already working with me in a symbiotic kind of way so training and using his power doesn't have to start right away when it comes to myself. Also, I need you Killer Bee to help them handle fighting Jinjutsus, and how to fight without your demonic powers since several of the Akatsuki have the ability to suppress them, said Naruto with B giving a thumbs up with a smirk on his face. Leave it to me Fox. You have my word. I'll work them like Yugito wants to work your said B, as he dodged the demonic chakra, and saw Yugito blushing heavily with a look of anger on her face. Finish that rhyme and you're dead on so many levels, said Yugito while shaking her fist at him. Okay kitty cat. No need to go crazy like a bat, said B before ducking under another wave of Nibi's fire. Alright. Calm down. Killer B, don't tease your fellow Jinchuriki like that, And Yugito, please calm yourselves. I don't want this place being burned down before it can be built, said Naruto while Yugito let out a huff while he stuck his head out from under the table and waved a white flag to indicate his surrender. What we going to do about additional allies? Said Gaara, knowing Wave and Spring Country were supporting them right now with potential room for a few more like Suna. We have 2 countries so far supporting us, as you are already aware of, but just the 2 countries themselves on paper aren't enough, and we need more. What we need is our own spy network, but not like Jiraiya of the Sanins, and certainly not the way he goes about getting it from them. People within each country, in each shinobi village that reports to us while working for key figures at every level, and knowing the details going on. From a daimyo's advisors in his or her court to the Anbu personally guarding a cage will be secret agents in deep cover reporting what they know to us. Whatever they know, we will know, and we will act on it before they do depending on the situation. Is there another war coming? What kind of disputes between countries are there? Who tried to kill who for what cause? And so on. We will a force that sees the whole picture and not just the one side after the line is drawn. When we fight in a cause, the side we join will be the right side, but if we learn of something sinister being done during the middle of the fighting, we will pull out, and make the secrets behind the conflict known to everyone, said Naruto, knowing the side they fight on would turn the tide of any war. Sounds risky, said Fu, knowing being a third party in wars and conflicts sometimes made them enemies on both sides. All wars and conflicts are risky, Fu-san. It's the price we pay, said Naruto, seeing his fellow Jinchuriki nod in understanding. They had been created to be weapons for war, it was only fitting they follow through with what they were created for, but on their terms, and against the power-mad idiots that had ironically been behind their creation in some way. Of course, people would oppose them for uniting together, as fear of what they could do when working side by side would no doubt bring opposition, and attempts to destroy them. And you will pay the most, won't you? Said Gaara simply, since he sensed there was more to it than that. Correct, said Naruto, with the others looking a bit confused. What does he mean? Said Han with a frown. Along with my code name I'm No 4, I intend to take up another to further solidify myself as the leader of Outer Heaven, and it is a cursed title handed down from teacher to student in the ways of war, said Naruto, with everyone becoming saddened by this news. What title? What is the code name? Said Fu, seeing Naruto smile slightly. My main code name will be Big Boss, and only when I have earned it will I be called by that name. Many years before the Sage of Six Paths was born, the world was different from what we know, and was even more violent then too. Back then, wars were massive, brutal, bloody, and some cases so damn senseless. Back then, there was single soldier that was considered the greatest of his time, and was unmatched in all forms of combat. His name was Big Boss, the successor to the boss, who was his predecessor to the title of boss, and they fought one-on-one in combat to determine which of them would live to carry on the title, said Naruto, seeing his fellow Jinchuriki were now focused entirely on him. How is this title cursed? Said Roshi while seeing Naruto run a hand through his hair. It's cursed because the one who carries the title of boss in their code name will forever know combat. It will never stop. It will never end. Always alert. Always active. Never letting down my guard for even a second. My ear always to the ground in case a conflict arrives, and until then I prepare for one almost non-stop, said Naruto while seeing the look of horror on their eyes. To be in combat forever is a big responsibility. So overwhelming, thought Yugito, as she understood his situation, and yet, was saddened to know Naruto would never be able to let down his guard. And any children you have? Said Han, knowing this cursed title could be passed down to them. Only one of my children can be given that title should I choose to have any of them be trained to follow my path in being the next big boss of Outer Heaven. They cannot just inherit it. They must earn it through training, battle, blood, and death itself, said Naruto, seeing them understand just how severe it was to have such a title. Trial by fire, said Gaara simply, with Naruto nodding. Exactly. Even then, I may have an apprentice of sorts instead to become my successor if I see the potential, and only then if I wish it, said Naruto, making sure they understood that the title of Big Boss wasn't just going to be handed out like candy to children. Sound harsh, said B finally, and for once he wasn't rapping. That's our lives, B. It's the path we walk. That path I must walk for as long as I'm able to, until my body gives out. By that time, my successor will come along, and defeat me in a fight to the death in combat, said Naruto, seeing many cringe at that. Like I said, Fox, the whole thing sounds harsh, said B, with Naruto smirking. And like Gaara said, it's trial by fire, so the whole thing has to be harsh, and there is no backing out of it for me. There is still a chance for any one of you to leave, and no one here will think any less of you for it, said Naruto at last, knowing one day, someone at some time would kill him, and take his place. Whether it was at the hands of a family member or a student was his only real choice in how it ended. I'm in until the very end, said Gaara, knowing his friend, who had written to him for over 3 years and sharing knowledge, philosophy, and personal insights from their own lives deserved that much. Me too, said Fu, knowing it was because of the Namikaze soldier standing only a few feet away that she was given a chance at a life away from the usual one of a Jinchuriki. Roshi and I are with you all the way, said Han, with Roshi nodding, knowing that even if Naruto was the son of the Yondaime, the young man before them still suffered, and had long since wiped away any debts his old man may have owed. And what about you two? Are you in? Said Naruto, looking at Yugito and Killer Bee. I'm in. The status quo of the world needs to change, and we're the only ones capable of making that change happen, said Yugito with determination in her voice. Killer Bee is a man of his word, big boss. Just like he's a man who brushes his teeth and knows how to floss. You invited us to come here to bring about something great and to combat the threat of the world being consumed in hate. So I'm in to the end like everyone else here, and I just hope my words made my intention clear, said Killer Bee, with the other Jinchuriki raising an eyebrow at him. I'm going to take that as a yes and saying you're in, said Naruto, while Killer Bee had a tick mark on his forehead for a second before shrugging. I have a question. Even though we know everyone is all in and we know what we have to do, who out there is going to stop us from doing it? Said Fu, knowing there was more than just the Akatsuki they would have to deal with. Our old home villages, for one. The daimyo of each country will react differently to us, as some will hire us, and some will try to do the opposite. Thankfully, not everyone in the world wishes us harm, and sees us as a threat. Just the rogue elements. We don't have to worry about the leaf as much since the Hokage is secretly backing this, since I told her about the plan 3 years ago. Being her godson has its perks, said Naruto with a smirk on his face. Indeed, thought everyone around Naruto. Through her, I can get the people in my village, who want out to come here, and set up a new life for them. I know for a fact each of you has someone you think would be perfect from your own village, who could be recruited to outer heaven, or possibly help provide support for us within the walls of the shinobi village you are from. I don't want to hear them all at once, but I will hear from each of you individually tomorrow should you wish to bring a candidate to my attention, and why they should be considered. Until then, our first official meeting as Outer Heaven's newly formed Wise Men's Committee has now been completed, and I will let all of you retire to your assigned quarters for the day, said Naruto, bowing slightly, and left the others to go to their assigned rooms. Not bad. You're getting better. It won't be long now, Naruto, said Big Boss, having seen the progress of the meeting inside the young Namikaze's head. I know. I don't want you to go. I don't want to take this final test just yet, thought Naruto while heading for his own quarters. It's unavoidable, Naruto. I went through it with the boss herself in my time. I fought her several times before our final battle. Each time, I was hesitant, and even hated myself for killing her. I endured, same as you when the times comes to take up the mantle, as all of us do when we take up the title of boss, and it cannot be stopped. Out of all 3 of my sons, only one of them was worthy of it, and he fought not to have the title, knowing how it would bind him to me. He was the only one to escape the cycle that bound all of us from its start to finish and set us all free in the end. However, as the world changed from what we knew to what it is now, the powers that be needed to start over again, and for all the right reasons, with people who can make sure the reason stays pure. As the boss entrusted me with her dream, Naruto, I am doing the same and entrusting it to you, and knowing that it's in good hands, said Big Boss, knowing Naruto still didn't like it. When will I face you and the others? Thought Naruto before opening his door. Soon. Not now, but soon. You are close, but not that close, and you still need to face a few more of your enemies before facing each of us. First, deal with the Akatsuki, then the villages should they wish to destroy Outer Heaven, and when that is over, then you fight us, said Big Boss, seeing Naruto sigh, knowing this path was going to kill him quickly or slowly depending on how things went. Anko, Hinata, Tuya, and even Hana are all going to hate me when they learn about that, thought Naruto, knowing that wasn't going to be fun. Hana was another woman he had gotten to know in the last 3 years, as they went on a mission together, which really got them to bond, and started a growing relationship. It all started with a tracking mission for a mid-level missing nin, who had killed 2 family members of the Fire Daimyo's advisors, and was apparently went crazy after lying out in the sun too long a week prior in Wind Country. Naruto went one way to find him while Hana had gone the other when they saw 2 different sets of tracks leading in different directions, caused most likely by a blood clone of their target given how the scent on both tracks were the same. Unfortunately, Hana got the correct one, and was ambushed by the crazy man. It also didn't help that the missing nin prepared to fight a member of the Inuzuka and threw a smoke bomb at Hana to mess with her senses. When Naruto found her, Hana was on the ground, the missing nin was on top of her, grinning like a madman, and it was perfectly clear what the man wanted to do next to the female Inuzuka. Not on Naruto's watch. A stealth-made kill later with his HF sword through the missing nin's skull, and Hana was saved from having something truly disgusting from happening to her. The start of their relationship for the next 3 years. Something the woman's mother didn't protest against, as she heard from her daughter what happened, and Naruto soon found himself in the woman's infinite good graces in the process. Kiba was upset, of course, but Hana basically punted him out of the house, and ended any argument the younger of the two wanted to have regarding this. Give them some credit, kid. They're smart women. They knew what they were getting into the very moment they stuck by you these last 3 years. They'll help keep you sane through the dark times, said Kyubi, seeing Naruto sigh while running his hand through his hair again. He's right, Naruto. I would have gone insane had I not drowned myself in conflict, had not found Frank, and took him on as my student. Even Ocelot, when he joined up with me, had helped heal a piece of my heart knowing the man was the boss's son and we could look past what had become of that incident, said Big Boss, with Ocelot nodding in full agreement. When should I have them come here to Outer Heaven? The defensive walls and housing areas need to be built first before any real population can spring about from this, thought Naruto, with Big Boss thinking it over. As of right now, you have the main building here done, which will be the nerve center of Outer Heaven, and thus has a few rooms meant to accommodate people as guests, while the lower regions below are meant for prisoners. Start with the wall first so you have a way to defend against intruders, then focus on homes soon after, and rotate from there on, said Big Boss, with Naruto nodding in understanding. Naruto-sama, said Tuya when Naruto walked further into his room and surprised the young mercenary at seeing the redhead here. Tuya? What are you doing here? Said Naruto, seeing woman in a tight red shinobi uniform that matched her hair, with a silk blue ribbon tied in a bow behind her back with a kodachi sheathed at her right leg by the knee. I came here to deliver a message to you by the Hokage. She says it's urgent and doesn't trust Jiraiya of the Sannin to deliver this information, said Tuya, as she handed him a scroll, and saw him reading it. Damn. The Akatsuki are making their move now. Word got out to them of us all coming together here and they're going to make a move soon, said Naruto, grimacing at this turn of events. That's not all. Your old teammate Uchiha Sasuke fled to the Leaf with Haruno Sakura for Rice Country. He's going to try getting power from that place in order to kill his older brother Uchiha Itachi, said Tuya, knowing without a leader, the place was falling apart into utter chaos, and the Uchiha was going to stabilize it just enough only to get what he wanted before letting the chaos continue. I should have killed him 3 years ago. The only good Uchiha is a dead Uchiha, said Naruto angrily while Tuya came closer and hugged him. You need to rest, Naruto-sama. You're tired, said Tuya while sensing just how tired the Namikaze really was and how his body ached from the stress he was under. I'll rest when I'm dead, said Naruto, but even then his voice showed signs of it, and the red head held him even tighter. No. You'll rest now and regain your lost strength. The world won't be destroyed in one day, said Tuya before guiding him to the bed and helped him lie down after removing the various articles of clothing that he wore. You'd be surprised, said Naruto before his eyelids began to get heavy and sleep soon took him into the land of dreams. Sensing him sleeping, Tuya removed her weapons, got into the bed with him, and then covered his body with her own while pressing herself against his form like a blanket just before covering them both with one. She nestled her face at the crook of his neck, all the while humming a soft tune that came into her mind, and Tuya sensed his muscles were becoming less rigid from action. Hinata-sama, Hana-sama, and Anko-sama were right. We have to protect Naruto-sama from himself, thought Tuya while vowing to do just that. Thanks for listening, and remember, the disrespect is real. Goodbye.